Welcome to Two-Man Scramble on WRUF. New little golf, I guess we'll call it a podcast. I'm Justin Baxley, joined by AJ Sheridan.
This week's special to me. I mean, we're entering the Florida swing, so it's special to everyone up here at WRUF. But being from South Florida, grew up going to the Honda Classic, now the Cognizant Classic. I'm looking forward to this. We'll be doing them hopefully weekly going forward right here on WRUF's YouTube. And let's have some fun here on the first one.
Yeah, so obviously Two-Man Scramble. AJ and I are both big golfers. I've been playing since I was a little kid, and as well as AJ, I believe. He grew up in a little bit more prime position in terms of South Florida weather. I grew up in Central Georgia, but look, I've covered the Masters, been up to the Tour Championship, so I've got a lot of good memories at golf tournaments. In fact, I've been to two golf tournaments in my life. Tiger Woods won both of them, the 2018 PGA Tour, the Tour Championship, and the 2019 Masters.
A lot of people can probably say they've seen Tiger Woods win a golf tournament in person before. I can't say the same when I saw him at the Honda Classic. He actually withdrew. But that's where I want to start. Tiger Woods hinting at an Augusta comeback maybe this year, but the field this week at the Cognizant Classic. Growing up, I remember the likes of Rory McIlroy, Dustin Johnson, Rick Fowler's won here. And it was like, this is not a premier event, but it was always one of the toughest courses to play. All the big names would play in it. And then this week, I mean, one of the bigger names, Bridgman, won last week, so he won't even be playing in PGA National Palm Beach Gardens this weekend. Of course, Joe Highsmith, the defending champion, will be there. He's in a featured group. And the biggest name there is the man who returned to the PGA Tour this year, Brooks Koepka. So still some South Florida ties playing in it, but not as deep of a field as I was ready for or used to growing up. But you expect it coming off two signatures with two signatures following in the Sunshine State.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Cognizant, formerly the Honda Classic, unfortunately, it's kind of gotten pushed down in the schedule because of all of the signature events that it surrounds or is surrounding it. I hate that because it was, like you said, it was a great event for a very long time, and honestly, it was one of the better golf tournaments for a very long time, in my opinion, in terms of fields.
I mean, if you look at some of these past winners, you got Justin Thomas, you got Rory McIlroy, Rory McIlroy in 2012, you got Russell Henley, Adam Scott, Ricky Fowler, and all those scores, -9, -8, there were a few -6s, 6-unders, and then the last 2 years, 17 under and 19 under. So the PGA Tour, knowing that it's not as good of a field, as deep of a field, they want to maybe attract some more viewership. Let's get some low scores out there. You never used to see. I remember Ricky Fowler shot like a 4-under bogey-free round, and he was at the top of the leaderboard one year when I left on a Thursday. Last year, Jake Knapp went out and shot a 59 inside Palm Beach National, PGA National. That was unheard of growing up. When the winds whip, which they can in South Florida, I think it will still be a difficult challenge for these players. But for me, that was my favorite part. I would go pretty much every Thursday or Friday. I would skip school and go to the Honda Classic, now the Cog, and I would sit on the bear trap with my dad, and we would sit there and be like, does even one person hit the green on number 15? And a lot of the times, it would only be one person. Now it just feels like the excitement for me is not there. I'm going to go to Arnold Palmer for the first time this year, maybe see a tougher challenge there, but man, I like watching the players get challenged. I think that's why a lot of people like watching events like the U.S. Open. And this used to be one of those tournaments.
For me, I'm not big on the score fest. I also don't love necessarily the ones that are so hard that it's not fun to watch. But I like where a tournament finishes at 7, 8 under as your winning score, because I feel like that's an adequate test of what you've got. But it also it provides some scoring opportunities so that on Sunday you're not just watching guys try to plot around for par. You're watching guys fire at pins because you've got to go 3 or 4 under to win this golf tournament. Now, but weeks where it's 17, 18, 19 under, every hole you're sitting there watching them fire at pins. But looking at the power rankings, PGA Tour obviously drops their power rankings every single week. It's a staple of mine. I read it every week. I know AJ's not as big on the power rankings when it comes to how he looks for in terms of choosing a winner. But yeah, I mean, to kind of your point, the big names this week, according to the power rankings, top 15 or so, Ryan Gerard, Shane Lowry, Nikolai Højgaard, I'm never going to get his name right.
Højgaard.
Daniel Berger, Rasmus Højgaard, which is the twin, I believe.
Yes.
Technically the younger of the Danish twins. Jordan Smith, Haotong Lee, which I know you want to grab.
I was just about to say, where are you going to say my favorite this week?
Michael Thorbjornsen, little Keith Mitchell action, Johnny Kiefer. I'm skipping number 11, going straight up to 12, Andrew Putnam, 13, John Perry, Lee Hodges at 14, and Kevin Roy.
Why'd you skip 11?
Brooks Koepka.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is that even in a field that is toned down quite a bit, you're looking at a guy that's won, I believe it's 5 majors at this point. One of the best performers that we've seen of our generation in golf, but has not always been good at these normal, just everyday Scorefest events. And so he has kind of gotten pushed down the list of potential, the guys you're looking at that could win this week.
And I mean, we just don't really know from what we've seen from Brooks Koepka so far this year in his few starts if he's really fully back in form yet. But you can say that about him whenever you show up to a major. Like you said, he's a guy that you have to worry about. I do remember him. It was, I want to say 2019 when Keith Mitchell won the Honda Classic. Him and Ricky Fowler both made some crazy putts coming down the stretch, and it looked like we were heading for a playoff. Back when the Cognizant, the Honda, was an exciting event. You had Ricky Fowler, Brooks Koepka, and here's this guy at the time, who's Keith Mitchell, a Georgia Bulldog, sitting here at WRUF in Gainesville. Brooks Koepka is seminal. It looked like there was going to be a great playoff, and Keith Mitchell did end up winning. So some maybe home cooking for Brooks Koepka this week. This is maybe a spot to get him back in form as we tune up for the Players and Augusta.
Here's the other thing for Brooks. I think a win goes a long way in his return and resurgence back onto the PGA Tour. But frankly, AJ, I'd just like to see him net a top 10. This feels like the place. If he's going to do it, this feels like the place to do it. And the other thing is it can earn him back into some other events that he's not a lock for because of where he's at in the world golf rankings.
Yeah, I mean, I love the storylines around some of these smaller tournaments because you don't get it's just Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, like it's going to be them on a Sunday. No, you're getting kind of these better stories. And I used to always say, whenever I watch a golf tournament, I go, a Honda Classic legend. Like last week, I was watching Jacob Bridgman. He finished second at this event last year. I go, he was a legend at this event. Sepp Straka got a win at the Honda. And I was like, so now when I hear these guys, and that's what makes these events in Florida so special, is you get the chance maybe to go to the Arnold Palmer, the Players, the Honda, the Valspar, and you get to see some of these lower name guys, and that's what makes going to a golf tournament so awesome. Because you can sit there and maybe follow these big groups, but you got to go almost 2 or 3 holes ahead if you really want to see them. But then you're just walking down the first fairway, and here's a guy you've never heard of who might win the tournament on a Thursday, and it's your first time seeing him. And then you have that little story. Chris Gotterup was a good example of that. I saw him multiple years ago at the Honda, and look what he's doing now. So these tournaments, if you're a true golf fan, can show you who may take the next big leap on the PGA Tour.
Yeah, and I'll say the guy that is at ranked number 1 on the odds, or not the odds, maybe it is the odds, but on the power rankings, Ryan Gerard, he's a guy this year that has been, kind of feels like he's been knocking on the door. He's currently in 7th in the FedEx Cup rankings, but he's the only one inside the top 30 in the field this week. He debuted as a rookie in 2023. At this tournament. That was his first tournament. He finished 4th that week.
Oh, I remember. And
then finished last year, he came back, finished 25th. So Ryan Gerard might be the name to watch this week. The other big name that stood out to me, AJ, was Shane Lowry.
Yeah.
This is a guy who is really good at this golf course, right? It looks like, let's see here, 8 for 8 with a runner-up in 22. 4 straight top 11 finishes at the Cog, or at the Honda, whichever one you want to call it. But Shane Lowry's another name that, over the last year, it looked like he was turning his game around with him and Rory when they won a couple years ago, I guess now, at the Zurich. He hasn't necessarily looked amazing since then. He's actually struggled quite a bit.
He hit the winning putt in the Ryder Cup. I remember that.
He did break some hearts up at Bethpage.
It is a course, though. It's kind of, you see the people who like the course, and they tend to go and play there every single year. Shane Lowry, I remember watching every single year, probably because he had some good finishes. Ricky Fowler seemed to always be at the top, which he was for a while at a lot of leaderboards and was never really able to win. I'm a big Ricky guy. He was able to win the Honda, and he was able to play there every year. You saw the guys, this is a course because it is so challenging, or used to be, that if someone played there a lot, they tended to go back year after year, and we just don't see that as much. And I want to make one point is, if Jack Nicklaus didn't have so many ties to this tournament, I wonder if they already moved this tournament away from PGA National. Jack Nicklaus tends to always be in the booth with NBC during the week. It's in PGA where he's got a lot of Children's Hospital. I know he was pushing to get this in a better spot away from some of the signatures so we can get those good fields again. PGA, of course, moved their headquarters out to Dallas, so maybe that's why this tournament isn't as big as it used to be, but I hope we can get back there someday, somehow. I don't know if it'll be this week. But, yeah, I'll go ahead and give my pick for this week. You mentioned it, that I like him. It's Hong Tong Lee. He was in the All-Star Game or the Skills Challenge that the PGA put on a few months back. He likes it in South Florida. He likes these greens. Don't be surprised if you see his name in the top 5 this week. That is my pick, and I am sticking with it. He will be the next now Cognizant Classic legend if you go and you got to get your eyes on him. Minwoo Lee was another. He's not playing this week, but I can go on and on. He was one I saw before he blew up at this tournament. Lots of good memories down at PGA National for me.
Yeah, look, I like that pick a lot. He's a little bit down he's still on the power rankings. And as obviously he's a first-timer at PGA National, but he's the power rankings tell you he sits tee to green. He's in the top 8 in strokes gained. He's in the top 20 in scrambling, and that's what you need to win at this golf course. I actually really like that pick a lot. My heart wants to pick Brooks Koepka.
Don't do it,
because I want to see him.
He's a Seminole. We can't on our first show here on WRUF pick a Florida State Seminole.
I know I can't pick a Seminole, but I do think that there's the story of Brooks Koepka coming back to the tour and winning would be great, especially home turf for him. But I really like Shane Lowry this week. He's been struggling. The fact that he's playing in this tournament, no offense to the Cog, the fact that he's playing in this tournament tells you that he maybe he's even viewing this as a get right place for him. I like Shane Lowry this week to come out, put together a good round, a good week, win the tournament, and maybe get back on track. Because I think he's a guy that when he gets some confidence rolling like he did after the Zurich, he's a guy that can contend not just in signature events. He's a guy that can contend and has won a major championship.
Yeah, I like your pick with you there, too. He's a major champion. I'm going to shift the focus real quick here on WRUF. There are Gators in the field this week. We mentioned the Seminole in Brooks Koepka. Also, Luke Clanton last year at this event got his PGA Tour card. He's another Florida State Seminole. He kind of became a Cognizant Classic legend for earning his tour card while still in college. Of course, he plays at Florida State. Billy Horschel is in the field this week. So is Toasty, the former Gator. So there's storylines to look at no matter what side you're coming from. Here on WRUF, we're going to focus on the Gators for sure.
Absolutely. One other one that I'll throw out there to you, Blades Brown.
He's in the tournament this week.
The 18-year-old phenom. Last time I think we really saw him play well. I mean, he went out and he almost went on. He was on he
almost beat Scotty.
He was on 58 watch for a minute there. That was at the American Express. He finished 19 under. Don't rule the kid out is all I'll say. I'm not saying he's going to go win this thing. I'm not saying he'll even be somebody that competes this week. But we don't know how good Blades Brown can be.
Neil Shipley also in the field this week, another young guy, and another Gator, Ricky Castillo. I forgot about him. So a lot of young guys, like I mentioned, kind of get their start and jumpstart their career right here at this very tournament. So keep an eye out if you see a young guy at the top of the leaderboard on Sunday, if they're maybe just finding form for the rest of the year.
Yeah, look, we'd love to see a Gator come out. And can you imagine Ricky Castillo goes out and wins the Cog? I mean, look, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but just to see some of them compete would be good, especially for the brand new little program here that we're rolling out on WRUF here, home of the Gators, on our YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed. That way you can to be able to watch the two-man scramble every week, me and AJ, and we're gonna keep trying to add to the show, see what we can grow out of this. But AJ, fun to wrap up here on the first show. Glad to be talking a little golf with you. And I'm glad we get to do it on your week.
I was gonna say, I always say this is my Super Bowl. This is my favorite week of the year, especially you've been to the course. I sit and watch on TV, and I'm like, oh, I've sat right there before. I've sat there. I've watched this hole. I've seen someone hit it here on this hole. This tournament, I'm in my feels talking about it. I'll be down at Arnie's tournament next weekend. I believe I'm going on Friday or Saturday to that. So it's going to be a fun few weeks in Florida. And, yeah, let's get after it here every single week on WRUF.
And we got my Super Bowl coming up in a couple months.
That's Augusta's everyone's Super Bowl.
Yeah, but
you've been there. You've been there.
It's special. But we'll get all to that. Thanks for joining us here on Two Man Scramble. I'm Justin Baxley. That's AJ Sheridan. We will catch you next week as we get ready for the Arnold Palmer, and we'll give a little breakdown of what happens over at the Cog this week.